$4.3 trillion in deal, record year, also basically doubling. Is that a COVID comp? Is that pent-up demand, or is there some other catalyst for all these deals being made?
Yeah, it's a combination of so many different things. Certainly some pent-up demand from COVID over the last couple of quarters, but also fantastic capital markets, very friendly credit markets, strong stock prices, and I think a rising confidence in many boardrooms that deals can be done. And we've seen that with a record stretch of deal making over the past 5 quarters.
So tech's been about 21% of those deals, then followed by financials. What does that say to you about the economy and where people are looking for value?
Well, I mean, technology has always been a kind of a huge focus, both in the M&A market as well as the equity and IPO market. And so we've seen kind of big tech deals. We've also seen tech adjacent deals. So healthcare companies buying technology. We've seen some real big consolidation in semiconductors. So that's a key focus. And so much of the past 5 months has been reliant on technology, whether it be how we connect with each other, how we shop. So that play is certainly there and growing. And that's the biggest share of technology M&A that we've had on record, even besting the tech boom in 2000. And financials is a really interesting one as well. Financial M&A has been really, obviously muted since the financial crisis, but we've seen some very large big bank M&A in the US. We've seen fintech. So there's a lot of innovation happening there. And, I think some consolidation certainly happening, particularly in the US banking sector.
I just want to clarify, when you say financials, when we talk about mergers and deals, are we talking about maybe some of that action in the buy now, pay later space? Exactly what are we talking about there?
It's a combination of banks. It includes some of that fintech. So, Afterpay and others, and then insurance as well. So it's a pretty broad group, of a big bucket. But all the drivers within financials are seeing year-over-year gains this year.
Oddly enough, I know tech's obviously a bigger part of our life. Healthcare, of course, entertainment, all those are probably the big 3 things during the pandemic last year. And it's pretty logical to think that you're going to see a lot of deals for that in this year. But the biggest deal actually this year was in metals and mining. Did that shock you at all? And why? Why did that turn out to be the biggest deal?
There's actually, it's a bit of a trend as far as some of the larger companies who are dual-headed and they're listed on 2 different shares. They're actually consolidating their shares. So it's a little bit of a interesting transaction. It's not a true M&A transaction, but it is a very large corporate transaction. We've seen that over the last number of years, particularly with Brexit, where companies listed in London and another domicile might choose to consolidate those shares. But certainly corporate finance activity is happening. We're seeing a lot of spin-offs as well. So on top of the true traditional mergers, we're seeing a lot of companies spinning off, as we saw with Universal, and then also some other big kind of corporate finance plays like we saw with BHP.
One last question. Kansas City Southern, that deal is one of your top 10 biggest deals of the year. Are you surprised we haven't seen more deals in the supply chain space with the increased importance of it? Do you expect to see a lot more supply chain deals in 2022?
It seems that definitely will be the case. I mean, I think a lot of people post-COVID were looking at their supply chain and whether or not they should potentially make some consolidation there, bring some of their supply chain in-house, and certainly in that transportation infrastructure space, would expect to see much more, particularly coming out with what might be happening within the infrastructure package over the next couple of weeks, or how a kind of public-private partnership might affect the role of deal making. So it'll be definitely a space to watch.